Okay, I will hand this over to Connor, then I guess we can get started.
Thanks, Milan. Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Connor. Milan, if you see questions coming through that I'm not picking up, please just prompt me as we go through the discussion. So, and I see there are not very many here, so please feel free to be as interactive as you wish. Title of today's discussion is Enterprise and Partnership Highlights, the progress and direction within Concordium. And just to be absolutely clear, I think enterprise is a scary word. It's a big, long corporate process which we engage in, but it's not specific to the goals and ambitions of Concordium. And for this purposes, we also mean by enterprise, we mean businesses or companies. So just to be a little bit clear with that. Joining me today, I've got Torben and Mokata-san. I am based in London. Torben is based in head office in Copenhagen, and Mokata-san is based in Japan. And our roles, we're sort of the more senior members of the staff in terms of being on the planet a bit longer than some of the dudes back in head office. But our roles cover sales strategy, use case consultancy, and onboarding. And we also have quite a lot of work in mapping the use cases into our delivery partners within our network, and also seeking funding within our network. So what we like to do is we like to offer, a full cycle service where we can. That is not very traditional in layer ones. Layer ones is build it and they will come. But the stage at which we're at, we are giving a full service wherever we possibly can. So just to state that what we've done here is, between the three of us, we've posed, given our experience over the last couple of years, and our lots of interactions with use cases and with investors, we've posed ourselves some questions in line with the conversations we've had there. You guys, the community, have also posed quite a few questions, which we will definitely cover. I would state that this session is totally open. It should be fully transparent and interactive. So shout when you can or when you want to, and Milan will pick that up if I don't see it. So I really do not mind if you have questions while we go. Providing I'll just keep an eye on the time. We've got 45 minutes to an hour. We've got quite a lot of content to get through. So I'll just keep an eye on that. And if there's overlap or something we can delay to the end, then I'll just keep the pace moving. So question number one is to Torben. Now, before we get into a lot of the questions that we've seen around Energinet, Fujitsu, and Hitachi, over the years, we've spoken a lot about Geely, about Volvo, about big names, yet we kind of struggled to deliver on those. And this question has been asked of Lars many times, right? So perhaps you could tell us a little bit more about what it is like, at the coalface of such large use cases. And more interestingly, how the sales strategy works for such clients. Torben?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. It's Torben speaking now. And as probably many of you know, Geely, they are token holders in the Concordium project. And of course, they are China-based with European entities as well. And they derive from the automotive industry. And one of the things that's very common in the automotive industry is that you don't do anything in public until you launch a project. This is the complete contrary to what we see in the crypto space, where everything is sold 2 years before something goes live. So especially within the auto industry, but also within normal companies, it's a long lead time, and they only reveal anything when it goes live. And even then, they sometimes are reluctant to go public with that they're using a blockchain or Concordium blockchain. Some of the times it's just working in the background. But we fight every day, of course, to make stuff like this public. So for us, the strategy is that we want those guys to use our blockchain and use it a lot. And yeah, unfortunately, it takes time, and not all the time they like to publish it. So one thing I can say here, I know we're going to go into Fujitsu, Hitachi, and all the rest of it, but we are progressing on all those handles on a monthly basis. Hitachi, they have done doing the PBI solution, the biometric login, but they're also moving into other areas of the business. So that's kind of like, and this offering has been 1.5 years on the way. So it's very time consuming, takes a long time, but then they will also stay there forever.
Okay. Thanks, Torben, because we're going to dig into that a little bit when we talk about the segments and the types of customer that Concordium is bringing on. I'd like to ask the same question of Mokato-san, please, based on your last few years at Concordium in Japan.
Sure, yeah. Hello, everyone. So I joined Concordium, right? I have in the end of 2020, just the 6 months before the major launch, right? So for Japan market, it's I think I go deeply the Hitachi. I talk about Japan market first, right? So there's 1,000 project on the if you see CMC the coin market cap. Can you guess, or do you know how many token coins has been approved to trade in Japan? I think this I had some conversation with Connor and Toby before, but
so Mokato, what you're saying is there's a limited amount of regulatory approved coins in Japan. How many is that?
Yes. sorry, my pronunciation. Yes. So because Japan, it is said that the cryptocurrency business in Japan is has strong regulations, right? So there's thousands project and coins, tokens on the coin market cap. So in Japan, only 95. So 95 coin and token has been approved the trading. So so you can imagine how competitive the market for the project are, right? So what do you mean by strong regulations? So there are 3 layers, so 3 entities you have to go list your tokens or coins, right? The first is the exchange who list the token or coins. And second is self-regulatory organization. We call then ZBCA. And finally, the FSA, right? The Financial Services Agency. So after passing through those process, your token coins was approved. So when an exchange decides list certain tokens, so the tokens should be demanded in Japanese market. So potential buyers. So before the listing token, so the project need to work very hard to create the communities. So that's what expected in the Japanese market. So that's why the company or enterprise more focus on the technology or the blockchains, and not rather than in cryptocurrency side of the blockchains. So Hitachi is a good example, right? So we did proof of conduct, proof of the concept. Technology. Proof of the technology. We did conduct. So that was 2 years ago. So the Concordium, the CCD hasn't listed in Japan. So we start when we start Hitachi 2 years ago. Of course, the CCD was not listed, but the Concordium looked at our technology side of the Concordium. So I remember the first meeting that they said, explain the Concordium, explain they explained the PBI technology, which our direction is the same, right? The going to tackle to the usability of the wallet, also the going to the world of self sovereign identity solutions. So what they on the start said, yeah, let's do it. So that's the
Perfect.
start of the project. Yeah, thank you.
Great. Well, it's been a good 2 years' work, and we're going to start to see the fruit of that in the nearer future, let's say. What I wanted to do now is basically in this section we're going to actually talk more specifically about the questions that you've posed, but I wanted to lead it off in a sort of a thought process of, it's clearer that these larger companies have, really long conversion periods requiring a lot of consultancy. And the question I'm often asked in investor relations and obviously in sales is what is Concordium doing to improve this process? It's the same as any sales strategy. You're trying to get to market as fast as you possibly can. And are we looking for more, or are we looking for less, or do we think this is a good strategy? So I'll answer this because I've had this question asked to me many, many times. Why do we think corporate enterprise and such is a good strategy within Concordium? Well, I think there are two natural routes that we've seen here. Maybe not the right phraseology to use in this context, but B2C, B2B. The B2C that we see a lot of, or have started to accelerate seeing a lot of, generally innovators, disruptors, direct use cases, smart people trying to make a difference. You'll be aware of like ticketing, NFTs, art, payments, track and trace. These are actual products. We get a bunch of people building actual products on Concordium. And invariably these are startups. They're at the angel stage, or perhaps the first round post POC and go live. So most early stage, and as you'll all know, it's extremely hard to win from this stage. It takes skill, it takes timing, it takes luck. I mean, there's so many factors in the success rates of launching a product. So we like them. We just to say that we dream about helping this stage as much as we can, and we want as many as possible. And we're always asking the community for as many sort of introductions as possible. But therefore, in the long term for Concordium, B2B and corporate becomes a really important tactic to balance that scale and that longevity, so that we can prevail in the ecosystem. And the reason we go after this is that B2B per se, they're generally at the more advanced stage. Large corporates are generally well funded. They have successful businesses already. They have very clear sights of their user personas and segments in Web 2, but they recognize the values a blockchain delivers, and that's what we must pursue. That's what Torben, Makoto, and I specifically pursue. But it's not just the three of us. The whole company is also ears up. So to answer the next part of this, what are we doing to improve the onboarding at Concordium? Well, I think the real answer here is that we have matured significantly. The key difference from Concordium a year ago is really how we restructured sales resources and use case processing. As I said earlier, the three of us are sort of the slightly more senior members in the team. We have corporate backgrounds. We've faced into enterprise at C-level. We follow those guys through in a well-structured process from the experience we know. And it's quite detailed. The 2 years that Makoto is referencing on Hitachi is going through discovery. It's going through socializing ideas. It's helping them in their business planning. It's helping them build their proofs of concept, testing into production. Well, from test to production, that's a massive stage for these guys, huge stage, which is overlaid and wrapped around with legal and compliance. And then the nice stuff comes along where we get into marketing and we get into the fun. and that has an overlay of sort of corporate governance that we need to have an eye on. What I would say is that we have become much better at this, much more professional, much more knowledge and understanding of where we are in the cycle, and how to process. So I'm having been here for 5 years, I've seen an evolution of a startup into what is now a very strong, mature piece of technology with some very nice products in and around it, and an evolution of some more efficient SDKs and smart contracts and the likes. So we're getting much sharper and smarter, for sure. But what I would really like to say is that, thankfully, we do have some amazing young guns around us, right? It's been one of the criticisms of the project that, it's the grey hairs, it's the bankers, it's the non-crypto natives. We do have some very, strong young guns around us that we reference into these projects as well, right? They face off into tech, they face off into product, areas where the rubber really hits the road, and the grey hairs have done their job. So, I just want to shout out to my team members, not to underestimate how smart, Holger, Theo, and Oliver are, and the hours they put in, and the drive that we get from Jonas, the head of commercial. I mean, it takes the whole team here to convert a successful use case, and these guys put in the hours, and we have matured as a unit. We are certainly playing a lot better football than England, and it's getting better and better. Not that I'm English, by the way, I'm Irish, but it's the joke of the Euros. Okay, so I hope that's given you some context. I see a heart popping up there from Pan. Thank you very much. Oh yeah, okay, nice to see you. Milan, at this stage, are there any hands up? Any questions? Any?
I think there's Björn Stellag, founder and CEO at SeeyouAI, who is requesting to speak. So shall I give him the permission?
Yeah. Did you say Björn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, I will add as a speaker. So Björn.
Because what I tried to do was to mute my microphone. And I'm sitting in Dublin, by the way, in this beautiful, rainy, cold weather.
Welcome.
Those who don't know, Dublin don't have summers. They have green winters. Anyway, I'm coming back later, I guess, but I didn't have a question right now, but I can definitely speak a little bit to how we will help proliferate you on a corporate level. But I don't think this is the right time for it. So I can do it later in the session. If you want to speak about that, I'll be more than happy to.
All right. Thank you, Bjorn. Glad to hear you also have a dog. I've parked mine in the next room because he always goes bananas on important calls. But yeah, feel free to come back whenever you like. Thanks for at least testing your mic.
Then we seem to have Nico as well, who's interested in asking questions. So let's give him add him as a speaker as well.
Thank you. So, Nico, whilst you're sorting out your mic and getting speaker rights, let's just keep the pace moving, and you can jump in a second. Because what I wanted to do now was I wanted to get into some of the more specific questions you guys have raised. And the first question aimed at Torben here. Can you please elaborate on the Energinet case and provide insights into the mainnet launch, including what we expect from it?
Yes, thank you very much for that question. So I just want to mention first, when I do this, what is the core of that project. So I'm just reading out loud here what it is on the first page. It's a development of a granular tracking solution, 24/7 carbon-free energy that is applicable on European scale and includes cross-border exchange. And why I'm saying that now is because this tracking that is an EU-wide project, and we are working with 4 TSOs, which is a Danish, the Belgian, the Estonian, the German, and now a fourth has come, which is the Dutch Tenet that has joined the band. And we have done on testnet the first cross-border transactions with these certificates. And that may sound, for us crypto nerds, it may sound one transaction, who cares? But I tell you, it's globally, it's the first one who's been done cross-border within a system of a controlled environment. And all the TSO, they were hands up on this one, and they're so excited about it. So this project is moving. It's moving very slow, but I would say that they're probably 95% done on it, and we expect in Q3 to see a slowly build up of transactions internally first, and then the next round will be cross-border. And just so that you know, if you think about it, this it was also mentioned the implications and what about Energinet. It's such an important thing because a public company that shows trust in Concordium is not something you see everywhere. I doubt that there's many public companies who's using a blockchain today. And secondly, this will open the doors to all the TSOs in the rest of EU. And there's 29 countries. So once this one, a tested system, is live, then it's so easy to go to the other ones, because why would they use another one? So this will be all the green certificates in EU that can run in Concordium. So how about that? I think that's a big thing. And then if you take the next step, I'll be finished now, is that this is also the basis for companies, because companies need to report their ESG. So they're, of course, also going to use this. And then hopefully that will bring more clients into the ecosystem. So I'm still hoping that all this TSO Energinet case will bring us one of the largest areas in EU on a blockchain. So positive. And as I said, Q3, that's news.
So thanks, Torben. But one of the next question references what's the benefit of having an Energinet, and is there any scale in the Concordium brand and sales process, which I'm going to answer a little bit now. Just for those of you who probably don't know what a TSO is, it's not the Toronto Symphony Orchestra, as I just Googled. It's actually Transmission System Operator, which is an entity entrusted with transporting energy in the form of natural gas and electrical power on a national or regional level using fixed infrastructure. That is pretty incredible that we have that use case. And in the next question, having significant references as Energinet and Energy Track and Trace project, the Energy Track and Trace project must be highly beneficial. Can you elaborate on the importance of this use case and what it indirectly brings to Concordium? Well, from on my desk specifically, Energinet has brought me into several incredible conversations in the track and trace space for hydrogen, clean hydrogen specifically. I think it's pretty well known that the United Nations drive towards hydrogen and ammonia over the next 10 years is going to be a huge replacement for current carbon fuels. There are billions of dollars, I mean billions of dollars, going into this space. And we have, I have open dialogue with a couple of multi-billion-dollar funds who have 6 to 8 use cases apiece, and that is from actual transportation. So picking up a piece of hydrogen that has been proven to come from a clean source, measuring the CO2 emissions and the hydrogen that is transported, measuring the actual transport, the people that measured it through its transport, the whole provenance of that that piece. And what's really interested and why they're interested in us is because of that embedded identity layer we have. It's all of their data embedded in identity through a track and trace workflow, shall we say. So on that basis, I'm really excited about progressing that area, because it's going to be a bit of B2C and B2B, and it's extremely well funded. It's just a little bit of a messy place to be in hydrogen right now. It's sort of governments are backing on and off depending on their budgets, but without a doubt that's coming. And what that's also done is that they have the meetings I have. I take Torben Prus, who's one of our senior engineers, part scientist, Torben Prus Pedersen, who invented the Pedersen commitment that underpins zero knowledge proof. I mean, he is a huge brain and asset in this company. When I take him to those meetings, they're just blown away. I mean, we have that blow away factor when we can take some of the brains and people around this project with us. So frankly, those introductions have come. They've all asked about Energinet. It's just unusual to me, but they absolutely have. So I think it brings us great credibility, and I also think it brings us more credibility in this cross-border trade that they've done on the testnet Torben referred to. So yeah, brilliant. Any questions? Let's gap for. I think Nico had a question and couldn't get the mic working.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Is that Nico?
Yeah.
Welcome.
Hi, Ari. Just want to say, great project. It's looking great.
Sorry, Nico. Your volume's quite low. You might have to perk up a bit.
I'm on a plane.
Nico, we lost you. Sorry for that. But I'll give you the mic in the hand again after the next question. 1 second. Bear with me. The next question, more specific to you, Makoto. We have major partners like Fujitsu and others. What can we expect from these partnerships?
I actually think it was me who should start with this one.
Okay,
Connor.
sorry.
Sorry
ahead.
about that.
Yeah, jump in.
So major partners. So first of all, the biggest three partners we have is NTT Data, Hitachi, and Fujitsu. And all those companies, they have more than 100,000 employees. And each of the countries have offices in probably 100 countries around the world. And why do we find that this is so interesting? The simple fact that it's an acceleration of our sales efforts, right? If we take Fujitsu as an example, we're working with the Spanish office, and we are also a vendor to Fujitsu, which is very important in some of those big companies. They don't just work with anybody. You have to be approved. And of all those three, we have been approved. And for those guys, they want something to sell to their end clients. So we have made three important steps this year in making a white label solution for those guys. So one of them is within real world assets, and one is traceability, track and trace. And then we also made a trusted GDPR compliant environment for individuals sharing medicine records. So these projects, or these, you can say, in our world, it's kind of like open source standard. But those guys, they tailor make a solution, and then they go out to all their clients. And we are now talking about 100 countries. So for us, this is clearly an acceleration game. And if we can help them as much as possible, they're successful, and they will sell all all the projects, all the products that we have. So white label for just those 3 alone is a massive step. And we have gone, the first project has been delivered, and I think there's 3 or 4 in the making. And then you would say, give us a name on the project that they have delivered. And that's just too soon for those guys, because we are number 3 in the line. There's a company, there's Fujitsu, and then there's us. But just think about it, 3 global players in 100 countries that are selling our product as a white label solution. I mean, how big can that be?
Well, hopefully very big. Thanks, Torben. Thank you. Just one more question before I let Nico back in. I think it's the same kind of question, but I just wanted to read it just to prove that we've got what you guys wrote in. What can you share with the community on the Fujitsu partnership? No mention of Concordium in the recent detailed tech report vision, which included blockchain solutions. Torben, I think it's the same kind of question where you said
it's a little bit the same as I've just explained, right? I mean,
secrecy,
it's an important partner. We will always be on the bottom of the news flow in those projects, and we fight to get our name on some of those big companies, but yeah, it takes time, unfortunately.
Okay. Nico, are you ready? I don't think so. We may have lost him. Okay, well, I'll just keep cracking on. And Milan, if you see Nico raise his hand again, please let me know. Next question we'd like to deal with is, what is the latest news regarding Hitachi?
Sure. So my part here. Technically, the Hitachi, they work in 2 companies, right? The company we signed with, which is the Hitachi Solutions, and also we work in research and development team and Hitachi. So 2 different companies we work on. So Hitachi is a very big company. So I was invited to visit Hitachi Research Center, the facility. So and they show me the result of the project, which is physically try with my biometrics to generate seed phrase. So the project was replacing seed phrase by biometrics, right? And the seed phrase will be not stored anywhere on your device, on the cloud, and any servers. So I tried to physically generate my seed phrase with my biometrics, and even recover only with biometrics. So we brought this result to the Blockchain Expo Japan. It was the end of May for 3 days tech event, and we showed the audience how the Concordium work with Hitachi, 2 Hitachi companies in the Japanese market.
Thanks, Makoto. Actually, we might as well stay with you, Makoto, because there's a question here about Meta Akita update.
Okay.
What is there? So yes, stay on the theme of Japan, please.
So the quick explanation of Meta Akita. So the Meta Akita is the famous spin-off company of the Akita Dog Association. You know, the Akita Dog is the brand. So the association is the one who issue the certificate of the Akita Dog, right? So Meta Akita is working on technology, also the protecting the Akita Dog. So what they do is try to put everything in the technologies. So the Concordium has built-in identity mechanism, also working on self-surveillance identity, SSI. So Maker Akita is very interested in our Concordium wallet with Web3 ID wallet to manage the certificate, I'd say pedigree, the certificate of Akita dog, also the proof of the ownership of the Akita dog. That's what we are working on.
Interesting. And guys, just as an anecdote, one of the key verticals that I work in here is in ID, and we've been working. I've been working with the banks on a KYC passport this year, and how to accelerate and recycle onboarding and the process of automation transfer. And what is remarkable about us building that use case, the proof of concept, which we've been scoping for a few months and now in build, so you'll get to see that soon enough, probably Q4. But what's really exciting about that for me personally is that the product is not siloed to banking. And as we know, banking is long and hard, and they have preferred vendor lists, and it's difficult. But we'll get there. We'll be in the conversation. What's really interesting to me is that in the process of creating this, call it an ID passport, I've now been approached by healthcare, so movement of healthcare workers, not health records, healthcare workers, skilled workers, I don't know, deep sea divers and such like in the rigs. Really, really important to keep up to speed with those, and creating this kind of a self-sovereign, live to date, immutable data records on chain passport that no, it's not a zero knowledge proof thing. It just works, and it's bloody reliable, and it's very trustable. But the anecdote that really surprised me a couple of weeks ago, we were approached by a group of veterinary, I don't know, a veterinary association. I won't say where, I won't say what yet, because still under NDA, but they have 70,000 animals for whom they want a passport. And that sounds a bit, I'm chuckling a little bit, but the anecdote is such that, since Brexit, it's a bloody nightmare to move anything across Europe from the UK. It's also, I understand, a huge nightmare to do anything from the US to Europe and such like. So these guys think we are on to something. So I have not myself paid much attention to the Akita Dog Association use case. I had a little bit of a smile on my face. You probably do too. But I can tell you, it just drives. This is interesting for us, and this is where our ID layer starts to come into real form. Just thought I'd give you that anecdote. Milan, anyone asking a question at this point in time?
I will. I've joined from another Twitter account just in case. So
You have horrible echo, Milan. You better go on mute. Sorry about that, Milan. We'll just move on. Right, I want to crack on. It's 12:38. We said 45 minutes to an hour. We need to crack on because we're having a great conversation. We could talk to you guys for hours. Please feel free to reach out if you need more detail hereafter. One of the questions was here, please tell us more about restructuring the sales strategy. I'll very quickly just say, yes, we've learned an awful lot. We have matured. We have focus on verticals. We have product aligned with those now. POCs, self-sovereign identity. I just mentioned banking, healthcare, skilled workers, and animals. The track and trace provenance piece you've heard about. Real-world assets proof of concept is now going to get live in the next. Well, it is live, but it's going to start getting some marketing and its own specific landing page in the next week or so. That's Theo. He's done a fantastic job there. And then, of course, the whole artificial intelligence piece. But just to say that, we're ready now to deliver and accelerate sales in these verticals. We're also ready and preparing for switchers. People coming to us because we're a layer one with an embedded identity layer and a proven set of technologies, which is great. It's great. And the reason, I'll give you another anecdote. The reason this is great is when a startup really needs to get going and they head off to someone like Andreessen Horowitz or someone for funding, the first thing they get from these big VCs is just go with the simplest, quickest, dirtiest product, tech, largest community. I'll give you a few dollars, prove yourself, and then choose where you need to be to build and scale. That's an area we will attack, just as an anecdote. Okay, so now we get into a bunch of questions. It's 12:40. I think we're going to take the full hour here, Torben. So let's just crack on. I'd love to hear more about 2021 as well, considering Lars' focus on AI. No specific question, just a general update, please.
Yeah. So when it comes to 2021 AI, they have made a platform called Grace, and this is something that they have used 4 or 5 years to develop, and they went live a couple of years ago. And this is a platform where you run your models. So you put in all your models, or you put in one specific model, and then you also surround that model with rules and regulations. And this may sound easy to a lot of people, but it's not very simple to do. And it took them 5 years to build it, and there are not many of these companies in this category in the world. And that means that every time that you deploy a model, it is checked compliance-wise, and it's checked for all the measures that are in the law, and that also GDPR and everything. And then it gets deployed. And which means that every time you update your model, which sometimes can, for some models, it happens every hour, for some every day, and for some every week, whatever, it's a hassle to go through if that model is legal. But if you use a Grace platform, it's very easy to do. And then what is the problem? So what is the connection to Concordium? And of course, is that every time you retrain a model, you have to be sure that all the data that backs up this model is you're able to find them again, and you're able to make a snapshot. And that's where they do that on Concordium. So every time a model is released or it is deployed, then there's a hash on the blockchain. And this is simple as it is, but it's the trust that they're seeking for when they do the models. And then also think about AI, as now AI brings us digital twins and avatars, and all the fraud that is going on in that space is also where we want to be. So when you're mentioning, the question mentioned Lars's focus on AI, I guess everybody has seen his digital twin. And of course, here the AI certificates comes in. And that's also something that we will use 2021 AI for. And there's many other projects. UCGPT, as Bjørn just alluded to, is also looking for these AI certificates.
Thank you. This question is a little bit off-piste for this discussion, but just out of respect for the person that asked it, an honest update on Concorpad, Concordex, the functionality of the bridges, accessibility of the euro is needed. Well, I think, frankly, that's a bit more of an infrastructure liquidity question. I'm sure Lars will kind of pick it up in his AMA next week. Holger will have more detail on that. But I do have an opinion. I'm a sales trader. I'm from the markets, been in trading a long time. And what I would say is that the team behind the build of those products is outstanding, as in serious guns, right? So that was the process of us, as I say, we are maturing through our evolution, and must-haves, right? We must have it. So we do now have a very strong infrastructure. Have we executed on the infrastructure particularly well, as in acquisition? Nope. Will we do better in the future? Yes. Whether we opt to take that on ourselves, which is not really what a layer one does, or we opt to partner, the latter being more likely at present, but that's the answer to that question. it's a deeper conversation with the ops liquidity guys. Next question. I see a message about new grant participants. What's the track record for past and current grant participant? What's the vision from Concordium about supporting the whole ecosystem? Torben?
Yeah, I can just go quickly into this because we're a little bit out of time. I'm sure we're going to do an AMA at some point about the grant process and stuff. But we have been working with the grants some years now, and Oliver is heading up this process. And we've made it for now a quarterly run. And that means that we gather all the applicants within a quarter, and then we go through a thorough selection. And in the end, we will put forward a specific number towards the committee. So you can say that we're trying to qualify even better than we've ever done. And then hopefully we will then be able to give those grants to people who actually do transactions on the blockchain. So maturity, I say.
Perfect. And I know those guys work really hard. There's a bunch of applications went through recently. We do a 3-monthly application process, so you'll see some new names in the ecosystem in due course. Next question: is tech aligned with the ecosystem needs? I asked because some projects were silently deleted. Who's doing what? How many? A little bit of a mixed question for me. I'll answer it the way I think it's asked. Is tech aligned with the ecosystem? Well, we have a very, very much stronger relationship with the product and engineering team in commercial, when I say we, than we've ever had. And that's been a really healthy process over the last 6 to 8 months. Again, it comes down to what Torben's talking about, maturity. So yeah, we're the recognition for a strong push on improving our SDKs, our documentation, our smart contract packages, off-the-shelf products we talked about, in ID and real-world assets and track and trace. That's definitely maturing, definitely advancing. This is a salesy question again. No transparency about who follows up on leads, interacts with the ecosystem, manages partnerships. Well, I think that I'm not sure about how we would publicize the transparency of our sales processes and our pipeline and our CRM. All I can do is I can assure you that every inquiry is followed. And we're just much better at it. We are seriously much better at it. And what's interesting, guys, I'm sure you've heard, or maybe you've not, I don't even know it's public knowledge, but we've partnered with a new agency called Giga, who will be going live next week. I can see Anne, who's been running that project, is on the call. You'll get a lot more data from her in due course. But that is a very specific set of verticals push, driving us much more leads. And I can guarantee you that Lars would kick our ass if we were not picking up those leads in a very efficient way. And that's just how we've matured. Can you elaborate a bit more on the role of Concordium in partnerships with SeeyouGPT? How are they using Concordium?
Well, we have Björn on, so...
this is Björn? Okay, fantastic.
Yes.
Björn, you've got the mic if you want it.
I can happily speak to that. First of all, hi everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Cool. I'm Björn Selleck. I'm also a previous banker or previous trader, ran the trading desk. And let's use 30 seconds explaining what we do. About 4 years ago, we looked into the whole large language model space and had this idea that this is an area where optionality is free. And options, if you're a trader, they should cost money. The ability to choose something in the future should cost money. But in some markets, they don't price that. And if you can find that for free, you should be able to create value for people. So our whole idea was that we think there's going to be a lot of large providers of GPTs, and eventually they're all going to specialize. However, they're going to have to bundle their products because they're going to go to other large providers to get money. So they would have to bundle, for instance, the GPT with search. Like if you use ChatGPT, you get Bing for search. If you pay $20 a month, right? You can't use Google. So they bundle them together. And I don't know how many you use Bing for search, but it's about 8% of people who can choose what search engine they use. So what we built, spent what, 300,000 hours and 4 years of building, is a system that literally takes your question and then we analyze it. We send it to the GPT, who's the best at dealing with any pre-trained data, meaning that if you want to do programming or math since last Saturday, I guess we use Claude Sonnet 3.5 because it's amazing. If you have a general question about something, we may use ChatGPT, we may use Llama from Facebook, whatever. And then we take the online portion of this, anything that's a search thing, and separate it. And we do that for two reasons. One is that we can then use the search engine that we feel is the best for your question. And secondly, by splitting this up, the search engine will never see the whole question, meaning that they cannot learn from you nor from the box review. So from a GDPR perspective, it's really, really helpful. And if you just go out and try it yourself, we modestly claim that we are the world's best GPT because we simply cherry pick from the best. And since they allow us to do that, but actually charging us for the ability to do that in the future, but only when we use them, we get free optionality. So that is in short what we do. So we literally take a question, split it up, use the GPT that's best for it, then take the online part of it and use the search engine that's best for it. And if it's better suited to use an event API, we use that. That gives pretty amazing answers. SeeyouGPT.com, you can just try it yourself. Now, here's where Concordium comes in. Since I'm a banker and I'm one of the three founders, one of the areas that was very natural for us to look at was data rooms. And since I'm Norwegian, though I live in Dublin, the energy and engineering sector is super interesting as well because there are so many large projects that are cross-company with very, very tight information control needs. Now, the regular data room is terrible. It's really old technology. And what we saw was that if we actually create a end-to-end encrypted solution, which we have built, and take our completely secure GDP solution where no one can learn from anything, and apply that to this, then we have a system by which companies can actually create projects and have the GPT help them, but that being completely secure. To be able to do that, though, we needed to have a security protocol that meant that you couldn't just have a password and swap it for someone else, or someone else could get your passport. No, your password. And that's why where Concordium's AI security passport, which they were developing for the securities industry, is a hand-in-glove fit. And we see that when we speak to very large companies on the engineering side and on the banking side, that the technology that Concordium has developed is easily understood. It's easy to understand that if we're going to use a GPT like ours within the data room, it needs to have the propensities that your GPT has. It has to be like something where you can't learn from it and you can't learn from any proxy of it, of the person's asking the questions. But then we need to have a very, very secure system by which inquiry is controlled. And that's where Concordium came in for us. So that's where we see that there's a significant mutual benefit because you have the security technology that we need, but we also then at the same time introduce Concordium to the companies with which we speak. Because these are companies that maybe normally wouldn't look at Concordium's technology, wouldn't even know that you existed. But the pedigree, because of Lars, because of the University of Aarhus, and because of Torben, which we know the best, and market tremendously, and all the people that are involved, it has a lot of credibility. And we find that having those discussions with the executive levels at very large organizations is very helpful. So what we hope is that not only can Concordium contribute with the access technology that we need, we can also be a door opener for technology for Concordium towards these companies as they understand the benefit of the digital passport and the access passport and can use them more widely in the organization. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So Yeah, Bjorn, listen, I think it's the first it's the first AMA we've had where we've had a really detailed use case owner describe to us the vision, your vision, and the benefits of Concordium. So that's fantastic. Thank you very much. And obviously, we look forward to evolving the partnership. This is an exact definition of partnership. So thank you.
Well, take your Japanese companies. Well, I love Tokyo, so I mean, definitely anything we can do in Tokyo, I would be super happy to do.
Perfect.
But like if we can take our technology and have that going into any engineering company in Japan, right? They would have a completely secure access technology to use on any project they have, together with our GPT, which is completely safe because it's split up. And that would be an easier sell than just selling Concordium alone, I would argue,
Yes.
because the barrier to entry is so low, the threshold that they have to carry over is so incredibly low. And to me, it seems like a hand-in-glove fit. And I must say to Torben on this call, he's done an amazing job. I mean, if his job of selling Concordium to everyone else is as good as it has been towards us, you guys are in really good shape. Really good shape.
Perfect. Thanks for that. As we say, it's about our maturity. It's about the phases we've gone through from a startup to getting to this stage. So we also are confident. Thank you very much for that feedback. And I'm sure Torben will take you to Tokyo to meet Makoto and many good clients down the line. It is 12:56. I don't have any time constraint. Let's just crack on through. There's not many questions left, but I think we should get through what we have here at least. Can you at least? So this is a leading question about what are we going to announce soon. Can you at least provide some details about partnerships that will be announced later? Specifically, can you tell us about the types of application, the cases, the size of the business you're working on, the number of expected transactions? Well, Torben, you and I were discussing this. This is more like our pipeline question. It's more like the transparency of who follows up on leads. What have we got? The fact that this question repeats itself in many of our AMA forums, maybe we need to think about some form of transparency in that process. And I think that Torben has stated that quite a lot of our partners are kind of under wraps in terms of PR, but they will come. Torben, do you have any other comment to that?
No, it's what I said earlier, that just the 3 partners that we have that are represented in 100 countries, they now have a white label solution within real world assets, track and trace, and GDPR, KYC, ID, AI certificates. So that pipeline alone is quite good.
Okay, I'm going to give you an acid test now that's sort of that question. The question asked is, when will Energinet go live?
Yeah, I think I said that the next milestone they have, that is in September. And we hope that that is where they slowly will build up going live. I mean, what will happen is that they will add on windmills, one at a time, probably in the beginning, just to test to see if there's no errors in it, and then they will also put households in, and then you would say, but what has that to do with the certificates? Well, it's because the whole project is also a matter of getting every hour of production to match with the use, or so that whenever an hour is done, they know exactly the match. So yeah, it's a big thing.
Okay. Similar to the theme that we've had before, regarding the promising partnerships in Japan, how can we interpret these from the perspective of Fujitsu and Hitachi? Do they see Concordium as their main partner when it comes to blockchain expertise, or do they have more partnerships with other projects that we can see as equals? I think we've kind of answered that. The only bit I don't know personally is whether they use other blockchains.
Not to my knowledge.
Yeah, but let's not be dumb here, guys. Invariably anybody that's jumping onto a technology will do a risk analysis against other technologies. These are not slam dunks for us, right? We're in the game. We feel we're the best in the business, and it's up to us to win that business. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And we're not afraid of the other chains
No.
at all.
Can I just mention something here?
Yeah.
Is that, of course, it's competitive. And if you look at those houses, they're talking to Web 2 companies. So what is the first thing a Web 2 company says? They go IBM and Hyperledger, which we don't really recognize as a blockchain because it's private. But they are the ones usually we see out there when we talk to them. So we have to teach them about the public blockchain. Yeah.
Sure. We're coming to the end now, guys. I'm going to wrap up in the next 3 or 4 minutes, so you get your day back. A tricky question we've had several times is CCD price is so low. What impact does it have? Have we lost any business because of the price? Makoto in Japan, I think this morning you were pretty strong about that being a no.
Well, so I have been for 3 years in the Concordium. I looking at the inside, looking at from the outside. I think it doesn't affect to our speed or our speed, adjusting the strategies and the priorities, right, with the limited resources. So well, like a good example, Hitachi doesn't care about the risk, the price. That's what Concordium is strength about, right?
Yeah.
Because the enterprise choose because of the technologies.
Yeah, and I have to concur on whether it's the ID passport in the banks or whether it's the hydrogen. They don't care. They want to make sure that this technology is a survivor, which it is. It's which we've reiterated on a number of occasions. Another question: lack of big use cases. How will that change? Well, I think we've highlighted our focus, our sales strategy, our determination in these verticals. A general question around, are we eventing, going to events and such like. I think what we have done historically is that we've sort of spread ourselves a bit thin by going boardwalk at some of these events and just meeting people at side events, which is part of our growing up, part of our meeting people and finding out what's going on. We changed our strategy slightly, well, not slightly, but a lot, whereby we have concluded that the best thing for us to do is to go to events with specific product verticals, not just one, but a couple. And Torben and Anne on this call, and I think Holger had a really successful event at Consensus where we were presenting the AI certificates. And we're going to carry that theme through with RWA, track and trace, identity, and AI. So I think that's an evolution of the industry that we're in. The chasing from NFT to meta to sport to memes to whatever. We stand for what we can deliver, and I think Bjorn made that really clear. We stand for what we will deliver. Of course, we will be taking all cases around the edges, but we do now have a stance in that respect of sales and marketing. So I'm going to wrap up now. 13:03. Thanks for taking the full hour and more. I just wanted to say 2 things. On the organizational side, it's obvious that our science and engineering is world-class and peer-reviewed, and our focus areas now have been on these proofs of concepts, these MVPs, that we work much more closely with our products team than we ever did, and our marketing team is highly interactive with sales now. And we're just really aligning on the direction of travel of the technology and lead generation, and I'm not sure I was allowed to say this, Anne, but the Giga campaign goes through next week. So we'll get some feedback from you and others on that in a very due course. On the technical side, I think it's a really interesting piece of news where there is a website called chainspect.app, which now ranks chains on their performance from TPS to finalization to block time to finality and such like. If you can put that in the chat, Milan, that'd be great. Chainspect.app. What is really interesting here is that Concordium, they've only got like 40 or so now, but it's all the big guns, and Concordium is ranked like number 10. you know, we're up there with the Heders, the Solanas, the Trons, the Algos, Ethereum. You know, we're 2 places below Ethereum on this technical performance dashboard, which is bloody amazing. It really is amazing. So for up to us, all I would say now that we simply need to put our foot down and work our butts off and get a bunch of these businesses through the gate as fast as possible. So I'm closing now. Please feel free to reach out to us anytime. Thanks for listening. And yeah, hope you liked the session. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And we will see you next time. Torben, anything to close?
No, great session. Thanks a lot.
Thanks very much, everybody.
Thank
Have
you.
great days.
Thank you.